On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Christine Brewer about the best marketing advice she's ever received. Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm really excited as your host to welcome Christine Brewer to the show. Christine is the Chief Marketing Officer at Suncrest Marketing Agency, and Christine and I met at a conference recently, so thanks so much for joining us, Christine.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Well, cool. Let me jump right in on the questions. It occurred to me that as a chief marketing officer, you have to think about marketing at a high level, all at the top. So what are a few tips you can give people when they're trying to develop a strategy for their marketing?
I think the biggest piece of advice or even strategy that I could give people is really to focus on what the goal of the strategy is. I think that sounds kind of cliche or maybe like beginners or whatever, but I've watched so many business owners, small business, mid-sized business, even enterprise level marketing managers, vice president of marketing, go through their strategies and not really have an end goal, not even really have a vision for what they're wanting to accomplish. And so they get to the end and here they've spent anywhere from hundreds to thousands to millions of dollars, and what did they really accomplish? Maybe their sales went up great, maybe their reach went up great, but really at the end of the day, what did it do? And so when we go into a company, that's the first thing we do is sit down and establish those goals and really talk about how that's going to impact their business, not just on a revenue side, but also on a cultural side, what that's going to do, and really put those two together. So, that would be what I would say is goals. Start at the beginning.
Yeah, that's great advice, Christine. I mean, I'm in marketing as well, and I've totally been guilty occasionally of just going after it and then getting about halfway through and going, what was I trying to accomplish again? So I've been guilty of that. So I think that's great advice. Now, I know you do some digital marketing within your agencies.
Yeah.
So what are some things most companies you see overlook in their digital marketing?
So I think the biggest tool that they use is probably Facebook. I'm a huge Facebook advocate just because you can see what your return is.
Oh, yeah.
I think on Twitter or even, I think Snapchat's slowly growing into that phase, but right now they don't necessarily have the analytics or the support to be able to see where your money actually went. And so it's a lot easier for us to do our jobs when we can go back to a business owner and say, hey, you spent this amount of money, but look at all the money we made you,
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think sometimes people kind of poo-poo the Facebook side of it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a ton of great tools that I think a lot of, especially entrepreneurs and small businesses, aren't utilizing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, what's the best piece of advice you have ever received when it comes to branding and marketing?
The best piece of advice would probably have to be stay true to yourself. And I know that also sounds super cheesy, but we've done a lot of branding. I know I'm just a cheesy person, I've decided. But we've done a lot of branding projects, and I think one of the biggest problems, even when we were branding ourselves, was what do we want people to know about us? Because people buy people. They don't necessarily buy your product. They don't necessarily buy your price point. They buy you. And so if you're not being true to yourself, then you can't keep that consistent, and then your brand isn't consistent, and then people realize that. There's a reason that Johnson & Johnson is who they are today. It's because they've stayed true to those family values, even in the world that maybe doesn't, acknowledge that as being, the most important thing or whatever it may be. They've stayed true to that, and they've been successful because of that. And so I think as brands are building and growing and expanding, keeping those core things, we tell businesses, come up with 3 words that you want to be known for. At the end of the day, somebody were to see your brand, what would they know you for? And those 3 words, if you keep those consistent, then you're good. And you can be Nike and have just do it for all I care,
No, I dig that. Now, I give people 3 questions. I want one more question from you, if that's okay, Christine.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's kind of interesting the way we met. And I think it's worth talking about just I went into the Icon conference being pretty intentional about trying to network and grow. and used the hashtag and was really trying to network.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lesson in there that you were paying attention. You were
Yep.
you were scrubbing that hashtag. And so, what do you think? Why do you think attending events and paying attention to those sort of trends? Why is that a good thing? Why do you think that's important?
Well, that had been like my fourth year at that conference, and so I kind of had the in on the hashtag. But I think, from here on out, or not from here on out necessarily, but, just in general, when I attend conferences, I watch the hashtag because those are the people who are usually there to actively learn. They're there to network. It's not necessarily that they're there to sell whatever they're doing, but they're really just there to meet people and build those relationships.
Yeah, and that certainly happened with you and I, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, cool. I give everybody the 3 questions, and I give you the opportunity to ask me one. So do you have one for me?
I do. So tell me a little bit about, I know you've been doing a weekly podcast, but are you changing something? What's going on with that? I've noticed some new things.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that. We've been doing the Delivering Marketing web show. This will be probably almost 80 episodes. We do it once a week. Every Wednesday we put it out, and from the beginning I got feedback that people would like this in a podcast form. And so at the beginning of this year, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, I wanted to take it to the next level. So I decided, okay, if we're going to do this as a podcast, I wanted to see how I could provide the most value. So the goal this year, and so far it's been good, I'm doing a podcast every business day. It's
wow.
It's 5 to 10 minutes, little boost of inspiration, motivation every day, and so it's a heck of a goal for sure.
Yeah, but hey, if anyone can do it, it's you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, Christine, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, cool. That wraps up another Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, but wait, can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it already. The way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe.